Thursday, July 7th, Crucibles of Maturity. 2 Corinthians 12:7 says, "And lest I should be exalted above measure by the abundance of the revelations, a thorn in the flesh was given me, a messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I be exalted above measure." There is a big difference between cutting down and pruning. We cut down plants we don't want anymore. We prune plants that we want to develop into greater fruitfulness. Both processes, however, do involve a sharp knife. Indeed, pruning requires cutting parts off the plant that might seem to a novice gardener like destroying it. In a spiritual context, Bruce Wilkinson writes, "Are you praying for God's superabundant blessings and pleading that He will make you more like His Son? If your answer is yes, then you are asking for the shears." From his book, Secrets of the Vine, page 60. People have wondered what Paul actually meant by a thorn in my flesh. Ideas range from Paul being under a constant attacks from enemies to having a speech difficulty. It seems that this was actually a problem with his eyesight. Ellen G. White comments on the SDA Bible Commentary, Volume 6, page 1107. Amazingly, Paul believed that his thorn was given me. What do you think Paul meant by given me? Who gave it to him? How was God able to use it for Paul's benefit? Notice that Paul's thorn had a definite purpose: to keep me from being conceited. 2 Corinthians 12:7. It was not because of any specific sin he had committed, but to prevent him from sinning in the future. Paul recognized that by nature he had a weakness to sin and that this thorn could guard against it. 2 Corinthians 12:7-10 reads, "To keep me from becoming conceited because of these surpassing great revelations, there was given me a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan, to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me, but He said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness.' Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, and persecutions, and difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong." How does Paul deal with his thorn? Did you think that Paul's weakness had any other spiritual benefits for him? How can the way that Paul responds to help you to deal with thorns that you may have to carry? In what ways might God's ideas for you in your spiritual development be very different from your own? Think about areas in your life in which you need to become more fruitful in righteousness. What spiritual qualities would you like to ask God to develop in you through His pruning? From the book Ellen G. White comments in the SDA Bible Commentary, Volume 6, page 1107, it says, "The Apostle Paul was highly honored of God, being taken in holy vision to the third heaven, where he looked upon scenes whose glories might not be revealed to mortals. Yet all this did not lead him to boastfulness or self-confidence. He realized the importance of constant watchfulness and self-denial, and plainly declares, 'I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.'" Paul had a bodily affliction. His eyesight was bad. He thought that by earnest prayer the difficulty might be removed. But the Lord had His own purpose, and He said to Paul, "Speak to me no more of this matter. My grace is sufficient. It will enable you to bear the infirmity." And from the book Thoughts from the Mount of Blessing, page 100 and 101, it says, when we take into our hands the management of things with which we have to do, and depend upon our own wisdom for success, we are taking a burden which God has never given us, and are trying to bear it without His aid. We are taking upon ourselves the responsibility that belongs to God, and thus are really putting ourselves in His place. We may well have anxiety and anticipate danger and loss, for it is certain to befall us. But when we really believe that God loves us and means to do us good, we shall cease to worry about the future. We shall trust God as a child trusts a loving parent. Then our troubles and torments will disappear, for our will is swallowed up in the will of God. From the book My Life Today, page 99, it says, untiring energy is required of the Christian, but he is not obliged to work in his own strength. Divine power awaits his demand. Everyone who is sincerely striving for the victory over self will appropriate the promise, my grace is sufficient for thee. Through personal effort, joined with the prayer of faith, the soul is trained. Day by day, the character grows into the likeness of Christ. It may cost a severe conflict to overcome habits which have been long indulged, but we may triumph through the grace of Christ. If we are true to the promptings of the Spirit of God, we shall go on from grace to grace and from glory to glory until we shall receive the finishing touch of immortality. May God bless you.